Hi, my name is David Hodnett, and my project is on the Maryland rape rate over time. An abstraction is the process of representing real-world entities as data by removing any unnecessary information so the data can be understood by the researcher and the people they're trying to present to. In my project, I abstracted rape crimes in Maryland to understand how they change over time. The two properties I abstracted were the year they occurred in and the amount of rapes that occurred. Some of the limitations for my project was the time frame that the data set was given in. The time frame was between 1960 and 2010, which leaves almost a 10-year gap from 2010 to present day where the data could have changed drastically. Another limitation is that the data only presents the rape rate as from the state as a whole, as opposed to looking at specific cities and counties which could have a higher population and account for a large portion of the rape rate. As you can see from the Visio outline to the right, this shows the abstracted dataset as a list of dictionaries and keys to access the state crime database file. The question for my project was, how has the frequency of rapes in Maryland changed over time? As you can see from the visualization, the rape rate in Maryland was fairly low at 1960 and on an average climbed steadily until about 1995, where then it steadily decreased. While it increased for 35 years and then decreased in the late 90s, it never returned to the low rate that it was at in 1960. Three stakeholders for this project are as follows: state and federal lawmakers, state and local police, and citizens. The state and federal lawmakers would need to look at the data and study the increase and resultant decrease in the rape rate in Maryland to figure out what possibly caused this and how they could create legislation to mimic the effect to further drive down the rape rate. The state and local police would also like to look at this data to understand that if the rape rate were to increase again, perhaps more funding or a larger police presence in an area would try and decrease the rate. Citizens would also like to look at this data and perhaps move to another state or avoid moving to Maryland altogether due to the high rate rape.